right at the top, Danish Qureshi, political analyst who joins us. Mr. Qureshi, Mr. Majid Haidari is here with us. Dr. Ranganathan is here with us. Sai Deepak, Saurav Dutt, an author. Sai Deepak, J. Sai Deepak is an advocate. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, leader of the Congress, is also here with us. I want to ask you, Mr. Qureshi, and it's a very simple question. Why would you want to villainize the Hindus? Say that they are being targeted because of some alleged Hindutva extremists.
I think, Rahul, this radical movement, entire Hinduism, is exposed in UK, and now I believe that the epicenter of Hindutva is changed from Nagpur to Tel Aviv. What happened in UK and another part of this earth, we knew it very well, but this is not the first time where we saw this incident. Number of times before, we have a type of sports activities and matches with the different countries. What happened over there, that first of all, Muslims are being targeted, their worship places are being targeted. After that, second day, the Hindu worship places are being targeted. This is the political agenda of RSS and BJP, who is in the ruling in our
Danish
country.
Qureshi, let me ask you a follow-up question before I open this up further. You know who we are talking about, right? We're talking about Pakistani fans. The Pakistani fans who swear by their country, Pakistan, even though they're living in England, no problem with that. And what does Pakistan stand for, sir? Tell me, I want to ask you, Danish Qureshi.
We have nothing to do with Pakistan and Pakistanis.
I'm not talking about Muslims here. You see, you guys are trying to make it communal. I'm talking about Pakistani fans. For me, Pakistani fans, and this has to be very, very, very deeply emphasized by me, are militantly opposed to Indians, whether there are Hindus, Muslims, Christians, or from any denomination. They hate Indians. And, sir, in Pakistan, is it not true that Christians, Hindus, Sikhs have been butchered? Were they all, sir, part and parcel of some RSS Shakha? You said Nagpur, you said Tel Aviv. You tell me, Danish Qureshi, who are you defending today?
Rahul.
You're defending Pakistanis?
Nobody is defending Pakistani. Nobody is defending the Pakistani fan. But Rahul.
Suresh Rajpura, who is a bona fide Indian, but you want to, that hoodlum who is standing there with his mask on, who doesn't even have the guts, I would have used another word, to display his identity when he's making those threats, and you want to believe him?
Nobody believes in that. Nobody believes in Pakistan. Nobody believes in Pakistani. But in the name of Pakistan, you cannot target the worship places of the entire Islamic religion. You can't target that.
Whose religion?
Yes, we saw. You don't know that, Rahul.
What have you seen? Which mosque was targeted in England?
Okay,
show me. Which mosque? Show me. While you look for it, let me open this up.
You can say this.
What is happening? That's not a mosque, sir. Is that a mosque?
Okay, let them chant what they are chanting. The same ideology.
Is it a crime on Ganesh Chaturthi?
What they target in India
is it a crime? Is it a crime according to you to say Jai Shri Ram,
nothing is crime.
To say Vande Mataram, to say to chant the Indian national anthem?
Nothing is crime to chant any slogan, but to target any places of any religion, that is a crime. Either it is
where has any religious place of the Muslim community been targeted, Mr. Danish Qureshi? Can you show me proof? Show me one mosque that has been desecrated.
I saw you, but you don't want to consider that. What can I do?
You are the only person who is making this claim. Even the British police has not made this claim.
Okay, let them do the police.
Let's open this up. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, how do you respond to Danish Qureshi tonight? Sai Deepak will come in right after, and I want to then bring in Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Rahul. I'm afraid, first up, I have to say this, that you are wrong. Those people who were surrounding the Hindu temple and intimidating the worshippers are clearly BJP and RSS goons. They cannot be Muslims, because as we have been told, Muslims always form a human chain to protect temples, don't they? We have to realize, Rahul, that hatred for Hindus, Hinduism and Hindutva is now a global phenomena, just like hatred for Jews, Judaism and Zionism. But while the Hindus may be Jews, Unfortunately, India is not Israel. We are weak. You need to understand why this is happening. The Islamists and their leftists and Darbari lapdogs try and get at Hinduism using the pretext of one, playing victim, both nationally and internationally. And you've just seen an example of that. And two, targeting Hindutva and claiming it is distinct from Hinduism. Watch those clips, dozens of clips, and note how many dozens of times the Islamists mention the word Hindutva on one. Remember the international support during the anti-CA protests for the hate-filled bigots blocking streets illegally for no rhyme or reason, except to display a show of strength. तेरा मेरा रिश्ता क्या, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, हिंदुओं से आजादी, काफिरों से आजादी, हम लेके रहेंगे जिन्ना वाली आजादी, हिंदुत्व की कबर खुदेगी, शहादा replacing the Ashok Chakra, children wanting to kill Modi and Shah. Remember all that? Domestic Hindu misia forms the core, Rahul, that is then transmitted internationally quickly into global conferences about Hindutva ideology, dismantling it. And as for two, this is psychopathy topped up with profound ignorance, nothing else. Hindutva, I quote, verbatim, means the Indian culture and not merely the Hindu religion, unquote. This is the famous conclusion of the Supreme Court, not mine or Mohan Bhagwat. But here's the thing. Even if you do not believe the Supreme Court, that Hindutva is the twa, the essence of Hinduism, and means the Indian culture, and prescribe to it a political or social motive, even then, Hindutva is not supremacist, but rather a defensive force to counter any attack on Hinduism. Tell me, is it Hindutva that calls non-believers the worst of creatures 98.6? That forbids marrying them 221? Is it Hindutva that recommends conditional wife beating 434? Is it Hindutva that says no one has the right to be worshipped except Shiva 4062? That says those who deny the Vedas, their necks will be shackled 4070? Is it Hindutva that says fight against those who do not adopt Hinduism, fight them until they give jizya 929? That says do not take disbelievers as friends unless they convert and kill them if they refuse 489? Were they believers of Hindutva who blew up the Bamiyan Buddhas? Is Hindutva responsible for 31,221 major terror attacks since 2001? Just because you are embarrassed by the violence, misogyny and bigotry commanded by your holy book, you bring in a false equivalence to deride Hindutva. So here is an open challenge, Rahul, just 20 seconds. Open challenge for those who hate Hindutva. List just 5 principles, diktats or commandments that you hate in Hindutva that are not there already in Islam. Just 5. And if you can't, then will you declare that you will henceforth hate Islam as much as you deride Hindutva? Hai dam Danish Qureshi? Hai dam kisi ka?
Would you like to respond, Mr. Qureshi?
I think Mr. Ranganathan is talking about the verses which he has described with the number. Problem is that who is practicing what
List
you
5.
described? No.
Mr. Qureshi, I gave you a challenge. Please,
Okay.
as a friend. As a friend, I gave you a challenge.
Okay.
List 5 things that are there in Hindutva that aren't already there in Islam.
Mr. Ranganathan, there are number of things I can describe.
बोलो
नहीं
ना,
छोड़ो उसको.
बोलो.
But I don't want to go in that.
बोलो.
Number आप
Challenge
जब आप
है.
ये कहते
और
हैं
जैसा ही भी
कि
है.
आप किसी एक ईश्वर के बिना तो आप कैसे जब आपके पास मल्टीपल सुनिए जब आपके पास मल्टीपल ऑलरेडी आपके रीजन में ऑप्शंस हैं तो आप कैसे एक ईश्वर में बिलीव करेंगे बताइए. Now I am challenging you. Can you explain me? How you can say that? You can't say that.
interrupt you.
That's why I am
Danish
talking.
साहब, please don't do
जी
this.
मैं
Danish
इसीलिए
साहब,
कह रहा हूँ कि अब मैं आपको
You are a
चैलेंज दे रहा हूँ. बताइए आप
You are a
जब आप ये
gentleman, I
कहते हैं
gave
कि
you a
3
challenge.
करोड़ देवी देवता
I
हैं
gave
तो
a
बताइए
challenge to
आप
a
कैसे एक
gentleman.
ईश्वर की बात ही कर पाएंगे. बताइए तो मुझे मुझे समझा
Rahul,
दीजिए.
we
मैं
can't carry
लेमैन
on
हूँ
like
बिल्कुल.
this.
मुझे कुछ नहीं पता.
Rahul,
मुझे बताइए आप.
Rahul, we can't carry on like this. As a gentleman,
Mr. Qureshi,
You know.
Mr. Qureshi, I think you have completely misunderstood what he's saying. He's saying that anyone who doesn't believe in your God, sir, is considered a kafir.
Did you
In 1 minute. That is what he's saying.
Okay.
Now, I am not going down this route. I want you, sir, to today accept that you misled the audience. And I'll tell you,
nobody has
let me
misled
finish.
the audience, Rahul.
Here, viewers,
Rahul.
please, let's zoom in on this. Here in my hand is a statement from Leicestershire Police. These
Yes,
are not
well
my
done,
daddies.
Rahul.
These are not
Thank
my
you for
police.
bringing this up.
No, 1 second. These are not my daddies, my forefathers, my police. This is Leicestershire Police. What does it say? We've seen reports on social media that a mosque is being attacked. Officers on the ground have confirmed this is not true. Please only share information on social media you know to be true.
Danish Saab, please say
12:39
sorry.
a.m. September 18, 2022.
You are a gentleman, Danish Saab, say sorry.
अब आप देख लीजिए सर, अब आप देख लीजिए, अब आप भड़का रहे हैं हिंदुस्तान में झूठ बोल के आप लोगों को भड़का रहे हैं. No, you read this, Mr. Danish Qureshi. Please read this out. No.
किसी पैनलिस्ट ने
Mr. Danish Qureshi, don't shout. You read this. Please read this. Read this out. No. Were you there for maliciously? I'm asking you this question. No, it's a very important question tonight. Were you trying to create a false equivalence, to create a vicious backlash in our country against Hindus? Yes, no.
Nobody is.
Then you tell me, sir, why were you spreading fake news?
No, nobody.
You tell me, why are you spreading fake news?
If I had
see
spread
it, read
I
it.
would have said sorry.
Read the statement. Why don't you say sorry tonight? Sorry,
I
made a
sorry,
mistake. I didn't mean to lie
Mr.
before
Ranganathan, come
the
to
national
the point,
media.
come
No.
to the point.
You
Why
look at that.
this-
One second. One second. Allow me. No. Danish Qureshi, will you apologize tonight?
Conspiracy. Who are the
Danish
conspirators
Qureshi,
behind
देखिए
it?
आप
Those
चीखेंगे.
who want to kick out unity
See,
from
when
the
you have been
unity
caught
with
out,
diversity.
Danish bhai,
Why did the people want to kick out that word unity?
Danish bhai, when you have been caught out,
And
you are raising your voice.
Rahul,
So I want you.
Rahul,
Will you apologize? What did you say?
He's in
No,
the
1
studio.
second, viewers.
Okay.
There is no investigation. The police has come out with a statement.
That's good.
They have investigated. Now you tell me, why did you lie tonight on national TV?
Nobody's lying, Rahul.
You did. You said one second.
That if you will not believe in my God, if you will not believe in my God,
viewers, I'll settle this. I don't want to get into a tutu meme with you. I will play your bite out in the next 5 minutes. It takes about 30 seconds for us to retrieve. It'll take about 3-4 minutes. I will play out your sound bite where I corrected you. I kept telling you are misleading, and you kept saying, no, let the probe happen. Probe has happened. Leicestershire police has put out a statement, and sir, you have been caught. And yet, sir, you are saying that others are lying on this panel. Anyhow, let me bring in J-Sai Deepak. What's really going on here? Why? I'm asking you this question. How will the ecosystem's most vocal voices explain the siege of a temple in Birmingham and the unprovoked and dire warnings issued to the Hindu community? Will they continue to call this Hindutva extremism? It's a fundamental question.
See, what I think is happening is an organized attack against the Hindu community across the globe. And this, I think, is much more important because at the end of the day, I don't expect people like Mr. Danish Qureshi to speak the truth. Because even when Pakistani Muslims are involved, his first instinct was to defend his community as opposed to people who are the victims. And therefore, this, according to me, is the Ummah syndrome at work. Iska koi upachar nahi hai. Is rog ka koi upachar bilkul bhi nahi hai. Because this has been going on for centuries now, not decades. Two, his opening statement was, because a mosque was attacked, the temple was attacked in response. The premise of that entire position, which was supposedly factual, has turned out to be factually inaccurate. Two, he then went on to justify why the attack on the Hindu place of worship was completely, let's say, a reaction, so to speak. This is the nature of the argument. I do not expect anybody sharing this particular mindset to ever speak the truth, ever. That's never going to happen. I have no such hopes. I'm only looking at solutions. What is the solution? One, while I agree with the statement made by the Hindu gentleman from UK with respect to what he said about Hindu community's innate peaceful nature and all that, perhaps you should stop calling yourself pacifists and shed this entire skin of a sheep, because sheep are ultimately meant to be slaughtered, and that's where we are moving towards. And this is not limited to one particular area. Hindus are not safe in Bharat. Hindus are not safe in America. Hindus are not safe in United Kingdom. Hindus are not safe in Europe. Hindus are not safe in Australia. This much is very, very clear. Now, in terms of solution, here's what I would propose. Hindus are not safe in Bangladesh as well. The Indian state, which has deemed it necessary to come out with the CAA because it believes that Bharat happens to be the homeland, the natural homeland of Hindus, and that seems to be the position, must take the lead here and must assert itself to protect those people who belong to communities that are native to Bharat. And that means the accusation that has just been heard by Mr. Qureshi that Hindus now operate not from Nagpur but from Tel Aviv, I would say we might as well validate that particular accusation and therefore come out with a policy where Hindus are looked after by the Indian state regardless of the citizenship that they enjoy and regardless of the place they live in. Because otherwise you're global orphans. You need to come out with a response mechanism where the Indian state is the first state to rush to the rescue of Hindus. If that does not happen, you don't have the wherewithal, at least on the street, to respond to these hoodlums. Look at the gall and the guts of this community in that particular place, the group, so to speak, which chooses to climb on the boundary in full public view with the police watching, and then all sorts of vulgar symbols are being flashed and displayed. This is an open threat, and this is let's say the gauntlet has been thrown. If you do not respond in some way, then you will face the very same situation that the Jews of Europe faced before the Second World War. That process has already started. This particular mindset has a problem with two communities, the Yahud and the Hunud, meaning the Jew and the Hindu. Anti-Semitic attacks over the last decade have risen both in America as well as in Europe. And that has gone hand in hand with changing demography. Now, what is the changed demography and what is the altered demography? I will leave it for your viewers to understand and infer. The Indian state has a responsibility now. The state which is currently accused of being the Hindutva fascist state, so to speak, might as well make its detractors sound right, and it might as well prove its detractors right, because you've tried desperately to prove them wrong. You're not getting any brownie points at the end of the day. You're not winning their sympathies at the end of the day. You might as well protect the people who you're accused of protecting. And this is not wrong, because you're not going about a genocidal campaign. You're trying to protect people who are currently facing genocidal hatred across the world. Well, using your platform, I would beseech the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to take up this particular issue and at least speak about it through Mann Ki Baat or some other platform at least once. This I would certainly urge the Prime Minister to do, because I genuinely hope that there is still some hope left from the Indian state under this particular dispensation. I hope this comes true.
Well, viewers, we have seen a series of attacks globally, and there is a newspaper that has compiled it. I'm not a fan of that newspaper. It's an American publication, but if you just read the headlines of the articles, you will understand the gravity of the problem. Mr. Chaudhary, let me come to you. You represent the Congress party today. Mr. Chaudhary, a temple is vandalized, a mob is seen uprooting a saffron flag. In another case, a mob of masked men are seen setting a saffron flag on fire. An identified masked man issues a chilling threat to Hindus, saying you can't practice this politics or that politics. Who are they to decide on our behalf? I don't know. Then, of course, you have a situation where in Birmingham, these louts, these Islamists climb on top of the fence, they jump and scale the wall, and then they flash their despicable privates at people, at devotees. Is this also, sir, in your book, Hindu extremism? Is this Hindu extremism? Mr. Chaudhary, I'm asking you.
Well, Rahul, first of all, I hope you will give me some time uninterrupted, please, as you have given to Anandji and Sai Deepak also, if you don't mind, please.
No, sir, please
go ahead. The first point that I want to put out here, you know, the ugly events in Leicester cannot be explained without taking into account the rise of Hindutva movement that has been imported into Britain from India. That is my first point. Second most objectionable point that is coming out here, since when did India begin to interfere in any other country's internal problems? The Indian High Commission blatantly put out a rejoinder criticizing the attacks on the Hindus, but it conveniently forgets that those people involved in Leicester violence were both Hindus and Muslims, which belong to India. Who belong to India? The Muslims in Leicester are predominantly Gujarati Muslims, migrated from Gujarat to Leicester. Do you forget about this? How come the Indian High Commission has involved for the first time in independent history in any other country's internal conflicts? And we prove ourselves to be the leader of the Vishwa Guru and say that nobody has got a right to interfere in our internal matters. Now India is interfering in UK's internal matters. We don't have any problem with that. Now the point here is that this is one dangerous aspect of foreign policy that the Modi government has taken wittingly or unwittingly. This is going to have serious repercussions on our relationship abroad. Sai Deepak is spelled out the Hindutva line that citing these instances of Hindus being under attack or Hindus khatra mein hai, he has argued for the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act. So you need to include Britain also out of the 6 countries now. You need to include Europe also. But he confidently forgets that 40% of Indian Hindus live in the Gulf countries also in peace. Now how did that come about? This all is the result of the hate industry, the hate factories that have been exported out of India by the RSS, even their organization of HSS UK. Meeting MPs, right-wing MPs, conservative MPs like the Bob Blackman, who was known for his Islamophobic tweets. Now these people, they go out there, meet these people. BJP has got an unspoken understanding with the Conservative Party of the UK to garner some votes for itself. In the UK, this is the level of degradation of the political space that we have been reduced in our political, in our, leave apart, Anand, leave apart, Rahul, that I don't want to speak about Hindu-Muslim problems in the UK. This is a law and order situation. The UK government is taking steps. But why should the Indian Commission interfere in their internal matters?
Now,
Rahul,
1 second.
Can anybody answer in this panel?
Dr. Ranganathan, yes, you want to respond? I want to bring in Mr. Dutt also. Yes.
Yes, very briefly, when the Indian government speaks up for the Palestinians and their rights, then Mr. Chaudhary has nothing to say but except applaud it. Number 2, on that same note, can I ask him, Mr. Chaudhary, would you like the Indian government to at least condemn the internment of 1.5 million Uyghur Muslims in Chinese concentration camps where they are being force-fed pork and taken to the cleaners, forcibly sterilized? Would you like to condemn them? Would you like to condemn the issue of? Please don't interrupt. Did I interrupt?
The Leicester Hindus and Muslims are Indians by origin.
Did I?
Do you accept this, Mr. Anand? Tell me one first simple
question. 1 second. Kamruzaman Chaudhary. Kamruzaman Chaudhary. 1 second. Look at who Mr. Chaudhary here, a self-respecting Indian, is defending. Pakistani thugs. He's defending Pakistani thugs, viewers. The Congress party spokesperson is defending the actions of Pakistani thugs.
And I'll tell you the reason.
I mean, look at this. I can understand if these were Indian Muslims and there was, some sort of provocation. But who are these people defending tonight? Pakistani is the same Pakistanis who thrashed Afghanis
Rahul,
in a cricket match. No, 1 minute. The same Pakistanis who killed Ahmadiyas. 1 minute, listen, Mr. Chaudhary. Now listen to me, please. I've heard you. It is shocking to me that you're defending the Pakistani thugs. Will you tomorrow also justify the Lashkar-e-Toiba's attacks on Indian soil to say that they have been aggravated by Hindutva? Whatever Hindutva might be in your fertile imaginations. Actually, sir, I'm feeling a little sick tonight. I'm feeling sick tonight because, viewers, we have guests here who are defending a country that is sworn to split us, cut us by 1,000 cuts. Excuse me. Then sir, why are you furnishing? Now let me play out. No, आपने अब बात करनी शुरू की है ना, तो मैं नहीं एक मिनट. Qureshi साहब, let's play out the soundbite of Mr. Qureshi. 1 second. Mr. Qureshi, who defends Pakistani thugs. 1 minute.
that is the problem. The people who want to conspirate from the sentence unity, from the diversity, they want to kick out this word unity from the sentence.
Sir, we are sitting in the same studio, 5 feet apart. I can't shout over you. Right? Because I will sound hysterical.
No, you are falsely alleging me.
No. I'll play out your soundbite right now.
Nobody is defending. In the entire panel, nobody is defending.
Let's play it out, Nizam bhai, play it out.
Nobody is defending any country.
Roll it.
That first of all, Muslims are being targeted, their worship places are being targeted. After that, second day, the Hindu worship places are being targeted. This is the political agenda of RSS and BJP, who is in the ruling in our country. Worship places of the entire Islamic religion. You can't target that.
Whose religion?
Yes, we saw. You don't
where,
know that.
What have you seen? Which mosque was targeted in England?
Okay,
show me. Which mosque? Show me. While you look for it, let me open this up.
You can say this.
What is happening? That's not a mosque, sir. Is that a mosque?
Okay, let them chant what they are chanting. The same ideology.
Is it a crime on Ganesh Chaturthi?
What they target in India in the name of...
Is it a crime according to you to say
nothing is a crime.
To say Vande Mataram, to say
Rahul,
to chant the Indian national anthem?
Nothing is crime to chant any slogan, but to target any...
Now viewers, that was just about 15 minutes ago. Danish Qureshi going out of his way to cook up fake news to defend the indefensible. Pakistanis attack our temples and he comes out and says, ye to isliye ho raha hai because we attacked. The Hindus there attacked mosques.
Who attack? You don't attack, Rahul. I don't say that we attack. What do you mean by we attack? You are the part of that conspiracy.
There you go.
Rahul.
There you go. There it is. He will not still, viewers. I said, I rest my case. Let me bring in Saurav Dutt. Saurav Dutt, why are Indian Muslims today defending Pakistani thugs? Can you please explain this? I'm a bit confused.
I think, Rahul, nobody is defending any...
No, sir, we just heard Mr. Chaudhary and you.
Which has been manipulated by...
Do Pakistanis need an excuse to kill Indians? Do Pakistanis need an excuse? Mr. Qureshi, do Pakistanis need an excuse to attack Indians? I'm asking you this question. Forget about, sir, Hindus and Muslims. Do they need an excuse to attack Indians?
Nobody has right to attack.
Does Pakistan need an excuse? Does it need the fig leaf?
But telling the world, which is being provoked by Hindutvva organization.
Come on, sir,
why you are not talking on that?
Please, sir, please, at least be honest to your own country, sir. Forget about anything else.
Honest. Nobody can raise the question on the honesty or loyalty towards my country. Rahul, nobody can. Nobody can.
I don't know, sir. You are creating all the confusion on the show, lying.
Nobody is creating
to run down your country and your countrymen. Anyhow, Mr. Dutt, go ahead. Mr. Dutt, go ahead.
I can tell you, in the UK, Hindus are terrified. You and your fellow guests have not even have the compunction or the dignity to admit that they are in fear of their lives. I can tell you this one. Second point is that this is a grudge and a sectarian vendetta that has been exported from Pakistan to British streets. It does not belong in a pluralistic society like this. There's also the fact that Hindus are being victimized just for being Hindu, just for celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi, for celebrating Durga Puja, for celebrating Diwali, which is coming around the corner. Their very sanctity, their very core of being is under threat, okay? Now you look at the video of the individual in Birmingham. He has said outright, if you do what we say, we will leave you alone. They have set the limits. They have set the goalposts for how Hindus are to behave in modern Britain. This is not Islamabad. This is Birmingham, okay? First and foremost. The second point is that as well as the Hindus being terrified, the toolkit and the ecosystem has been deployed by the media echo chambers to talk about Hindutvva, to talk about all of these fake news surrounding Hindu polity, Hindu religion, Hindu civilization. And the result is that Hindus are not being spoken for, except for channels such as this. What is happening is that grassroots organizations such as Reach and Insight are the only ones on the ground who are telling the populace exactly what Hindus are experiencing, because the only ones who are sending out fake news on social media are these Islamist gangs. They are the ones who are running the discourse. And let it be also said that Birmingham and Leicester is just the beginning. These gangs have set up a national tour practically other cities in the UK are next. And with Diwali around the corner, who knows what will happen?
Okay. Majid Hydari, will you at least begin, as Mr. Dutt has called upon you to at least condemn the attack before anything else on the Hindus and their places of worship? Mr. Hydari.
Rahul sir, before responding to your query, let me say you said that Pakistan makes us bleed through 1,000 cuts. Pakistan is land of thugs. Pakistan wants excuses to kill us. Okay, agreed. If this is true, then why did our government go for 2 cricket matches with the land of thugs? Simple. Now coming to this point, see, the genesis of these protests and the protesters has a backing of the ultra-saffron ideology, which is into a plan of, polarizing communally the entire world. And these protests were part of the same conspiracy, because these protesters are accused of sponsoring communal rights even in our own country. We had Jahangir Puri protest where these people are accused of being involved. But firstly, I want to say, why do we discuss these protests or the protesters? They were neither holding our tricolor nor chanting any nationalist slogans. They're holding a saffron flag and they're saying Jai Shri Ram. And now you say they belong to Hindutva. Now Hinduism and Hindutva are 2 different things for me. Why should I stand for Hindutva?
They are not, sir.
Which is just a 20th century political mutation. No, I don't stand for Hindutva. I don't have any sympathy for Hindutva. No, because Hinduism is a religion which I respect from the core of my heart. But Hindutva is a political mutation, a 20th century political mutation of Hindutva supremacy. So why should I believe in something which goes against my secular constitution? I won't support Hindutva. I don't want a discussion on these people. Please
give up your...
We are from a secular country. We don't need to discuss... I beg your pardon?
Hydari, I'm not understanding you at all. We are talking about Pakistani Muslims. Have you forgotten? The same Pakistani Muslim. Now we are talking about Hindutva. Now let me give you a few statistics.
It was, to every action there is a reaction.
Okay, sir.
There was some action to which there was reaction.
So what is the action?
Why do we want to believe that?
Okay.
What action?
Okay, Mr. Hydari, what is the action? What was the action that forced the reaction from the Pakistani state to kill Ahmadiyas in their country? Can I tell you the number of Ahmadiyas, Muslims, that have been killed by the Pakistanis, the number of Shias, the number of Hazras? Can I begin to tell you these statistics? Mr. Hydari,
sir, I want to know these statistics. Kindly enlighten me.
Let me tell you.
Because
published by the Institute of Development Studies in November 2020 states that in Pakistan between 1984 to 2019, 265 Ahmadiyas were killed. 393 were assaulted for their faith. There were 70 instances of Ahmadiyas who were killed, instances of Ahmadiyas denied burial in a common cemetery. 39 Ahmadiyya bodies were exhumed, and there were 44 instances of removing kalima from Ahmadiyya homes and shops, and 103 kalima were removed from Ahmadi mosques. Data on police case registered against Ahmadiyyas on religious ground indicate that 765 Ahmadiyyas 765 Ahmadiyyas were booked for displaying the kalima. 38 were arrested for making the Islamic call to prayer. 453 were arrested for posing as Muslims. Viewers, these are Muslims themselves who are being butchered by Muslims. They are not followers of RSS. ये तो हाल है पाकिस्तान में. The people these chaps are defending. Yes, Dr. Ranganath, you want to say something?
My government opts for a cricket match with Pakistan. No, let the nation know, sir, please.
Let me also expose you on that. I'll expose you on that also. I'll expose you on that. I'll expose you on that logic also. But let Dr. Ranganathan first speak.
Yes, Rahul, two points very quickly.
Enlighten me on why we had a cricket match with them. Please enlighten me on this, please. And why we distributed speech to them on Independence Day, please. Don't be a bigot, please.
What is this language from a supremacist who believes Sharia court is above the Supreme Court? Rahul, I refuse to answer this, but can I please have my 1 minute?
You are my brother. I said Anand Bhai kaha, aapko dushman nahi kaha, Anand Bhai kaha, please.
Okay.
Reciprocate.
1 second, Mr. Hadi, 1 second. Yes. Dr. Ranganathan, go ahead. Make your point.
Rahul, first of all, I'm sorely disappointed by the 3 Indian Muslims on the panel supporting Pakistan here, but I'll come to that in a minute. But this asinine, ridiculous explanation...
Pakistan, Anand. You are a good man. Try to understand. Who is defending Pakistan?
Rahul, I can't debate like... Rahul...
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan, finish first, then Danish Saab will respond to you. Yes.
Danish Saab, please. There is a decorum. I didn't interrupt you. Please don't. आपको जो कहना है मेरे बारे में अब्यूज करना है,
मैं आपके बारे में बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं कहूंगा. आप हमारे भाई हैं. हम बिल्कुल भी कुछ नहीं कहेंगे, लेकिन जितने भी फैनेटिक हैं जो हेट्रेड फैला रहे हैं उनके खिलाफ बोलेंगे।
मैं काफिर हूं, लेकिन
नहीं, आप अपने मन से कुछ भी समझिए।
मैं आपसे प्यार करता हूं, भले ही काफिर हूं, प्लीज आप मुझ पे नफरत ना करें।
अरे हम भी आपसे बहुत प्यार करते हैं, आपको हमारे प्रेम का अंदाजा नहीं है आनंद भाई। आप बिला वजह नफरत फैलाने वालों का पक्ष ले रहे हैं, बिला वजह ले रहे हैं।
कैन आई प्लीज कंटिन्यू?
ओके, कंटिन्यू।
Thank you, Mr. Anchor. Yes, Rahul, two things. Number one, by this ridiculous rationalization of Mr. Majid Hydari saying every action has a reaction. Do you remember? Do you remember 2002? By their justification or rationalization, those Muslims who were killed in Gujarat 2000 had it coming because the Hindus were butchered and burnt in the Godhra train. This is their logic. This is their logic. And number two, you asked this question to all three and all three refused to answer this. Why are they supporting the Pakistani Muslims? Let me quote someone and it will be as clear as day. Quote, Islam is a close corporation and the distinction that it makes between Muslims and non-Muslims is a very real, very positive and very alienating distinction. The brotherhood of Islam is not the universal brotherhood of man. It is the brotherhood of Muslims for Muslims only. There is a fraternity, but its benefit is confined to those within that corporation. For those who are outside the corporation, there is nothing but contempt and enmity. Unquote. Do you know who said this? Dr. Ambedkar. अब उनको ट्रोल करिए दानिश साहब, उनको ट्रोल करिए।
Would you like to respond?
देखिए, किसी को ट्रोल करने की जरूरत नहीं है आनंद जी, मैं आपको बताऊं। माजिद हैदरी साहब ने बहुत जेन्युइन सवाल किया, उसका तो आपने जवाब ही नहीं दिया। ठीक है, बहुत जेन्युइन सवाल था उनका ना। सवाल ये है, छोड़िए सुनिए
मैं दे दूं जवाब?
नहीं, मैं खत्म कर लूं फिर बोलिएगा आप। सुनिए मेरी बात।
अब आप जवाब
मुझे ये बताइए क्या हमारे देश में नफरत फैलाने वाले कम हैं तो हम वहां से भी इंपोर्ट करके ले आए कि वहां ये हुआ वो हुआ? सेकंड थिंग, जो आप कह रहे हैं पाकिस्तान की आड़ में, मुझे आप ये बताइए कि आपका जो हेट्रेड का पॉलिटिक्स है वो चाहे चीन के पीछे छुप जाए, चाहे पाकिस्तान के पीछे छुप जाए, अल्टीमेटली अगर आप नफरत करने वालों का सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, सुनिए, वो लोग मुझसे भी नफरत करते हैं, वो माजिद हैदरी से भी नफरत करते हैं, वो और जो पैनलिस्ट हैं उनसे भी नफरत करते हैं। क्यों आप उन लोगों के सपोर्ट में जाना चाहते हैं? आप मुझे ये बताइए।
आपको मेरे याराने की कसम, आप 10 सेकंड दीजिए, आपको मेरे याराने की
खत्म कर लूं, उसके बाद आप 10 मिनट
हो गया,
बट लेट मी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मुझे कंप्लीट करने दीजिए। मुझे ये बताइए, क्या भारत पाकिस्तान का मैच पहली बार हुआ है? नहीं हुआ, लेकिन क्यों इतने हद तक ये मामले पहुंच रहे हैं?
सर, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछूं, इसीलिए नहीं, आप मैचेस की बात कर रहे हैं। एक मिनट रुकिए, आप इन मैचेस की बात कर रहे हैं तो मुझे आप बताइए अफगानिस्तानियों को क्यों पीटा पाकिस्तानियों ने? नहीं, आप बताइए ना।
हम उनके लिए
क्या नहीं, अफगानिस्तानी नहीं, आप मुझे बताइए, अफगानिस्तान भी आरएसएस शाखा में जाते हैं?
उनके लिए बैठ के क्यों डिबेट करें?
नहीं, मैं आपसे ही बात कर रहा हूं। नहीं, दानिश कुरैशी, पाकिस्तानी have credibility. Look at Danish Qureshi. One minute. Danish Qureshi, we are talking about a foreign country, attacks on Hindus on a foreign country, and you are saying that this is happening because of growing Hindutva extremism. Right? This is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Who are the attackers in... one second. Now, Mr. Hydari, please.
Sir, nobody is answering
अरे
my
मेरी बात तो
question.
सुन
Why
लीजिए
did you
हैदरी
have to
साहब,
attack them?
can you please listen? Can you please listen?
5 सेकंड बोलो।
No, 1 second. I'll come to that also. I have the answer. Just give me 30 seconds. I just want to say a couple of things, viewers. Think about this. The perpetrators in Birmingham are part of a Pakistani mob. And these people are saying that the Hindus had it coming because they promote Hindutva extremism. First of all, there's no proof. You heard Mr. Dutt, and I'll ask him this question. You heard another gentleman who I spoke to, Suresh Rajpura. In all of this, viewers, first of all, if that was the case, if Hindus were the terrorists there, how come none of them have been arrested? Not one Hindu has been arrested. Mr. Rajpura has just told us that. And the facts will be out before us in a little while.
No, maybe English police is behaving like Delhi police.
Okay. English
So
police is behaving.
you are confessing that let alone you can
Okay.
But Delhi
Okay.
police
No, I
is
didn't.
under the doubtful box now as per your
शाबाश
statement,
सर
sir.
आपको जरूर
Can I believe that?
Can
I believe that?
कुरैशी साहब एक मिनट प्लीज लेट्स नॉट
अरे मैं तो उनसे पूछ रहा हूँ।
अरे उनको छोड़ दीजिए
इंटरप्ट कर रहे थे
वो
मुझे 5 सेकंड
नहीं एक सेकंड
मैं तो इंटरप्ट नहीं कर रहा, मैं तो आपके
just
स्टेटमेंट को कन्फेशन
Sir,
समझूं।
can you
मैं
please?
सिर्फ इतना ही पूछ
I
रहा हूँ।
just want to address my viewer for 30 seconds. I'm not asking for more time. Viewers, just think about the logic of this. So Hindutva hate has charged up Pakistan so much. Hindutva hate, Hindutva supremacy. Arey Janab, when we got independence, the greatest proponent of Hindutva, by their own acknowledgement, was rotting in jail. He had no agency. हिंदुस्तान में उस टाइम तो हिंदुत्व नहीं था, but Hindus were being butchered in Pakistan. They continue to be butchered in Pakistan. They are butchered in Afghanistan. They are butchered in Bangladesh. Viewers, are all these attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Kashmir, are all of them happening because of Hindutva hate and consolidation? I mean, what is this logic?
अब मैं
Think
5
about
सेकंड
it.
राहुल
Yes, doctor.
This
Yes.
is Summa logic at play.
बस दानिश साहब आप AIMIM को बिलोंग करते हैं ना?
अरे मैं पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट हूँ, उसी पे बात करें तो ज्यादा बेटर होगा।
हाँ, ठीक है उसी पे बात कर रहा हूं। दानिश साहब आप हेट्रेड की बात कर रहे हैं, आप हेट्रेड फैलाया जा रहा है। आप मुझे ये बता दीजिए, क्या अहमदियाज को आप मुस्लिम मानते हैं?
देखिए मेरी बात सुनिए मेरी बात।
ये
मैं आपको अरे सुन लीजिए, मैं जवाब दे दूं, मैं जवाब दूं आनंद, मैं जवाब दूं। सुनिए मेरी बात सुनिए। नोबडी हैज राइट टू डिक्लेयर काफिर, किसी को काफिर डिक्लेयर करने का किसी के पास हक नहीं है। सुन लीजिए, मैं आपको बताता हूं। आई बिलीव इन इस्लाम, आई बिलीव इन माई रिलीजन, दैट इज अप टू मी एंड माई अल्लाह। He will decide who am I.
Okay, let me ask Majid Hydari. Majid Hydari, are Ahmadiyas Muslims?
He said no. He was
They are a
shaking his
separate
head.
religion. We can't call them Muslims, please. They are a separate religion, a separate belief. They have nothing to do with Islam, please.
Okay, so they can be
This is a
butchered in
matter of faith,
Pakistan.
sir.
Amazing.
They might be actually
No,
Hindutva.
what amazing, what amazing. They come from a different faith.
वो RSS
We
के
believe in Allah and Prophet
members
Muhammad.
होंगे.
They don't believe in that.
Ahmadiyas might be people. Sai Deepak, what do you make of this quick quip from you before I wind this show up?
No, I think this is absolutely fantastic. I hope you gave Mr. Kamruzaman and Mr. Danish Qureshi and the third gentleman, Majid Hydari, to speak, because the moment you asked the question as to whether Ahmadiyas are Muslims, he was shaking his head vigorously. Now, I really don't care for Ahmadiyas for all practical purposes because they were among the founding communities of Pakistan, so I have no love lost for that particular community. I only care for what is happening to the Hindu community globally, and I'm very clear about the fact that when Indian Muslims stand up in defense of Pakistani thugs who attack Hindus in UK, I think the
Why did we
Ummah
have a
logic is
cricket
at
match
play.
with
It's
Pakistani
crystal
thugs?
clear.
Nobody
It's
answered
fantastic.
this. Nobody answered this. Why a cricket match with the thugs? Nobody answered this. Why
Sir,
constituting speech to thugs?
sir,
Nobody
sir,
answered this. And that is the reality of this show tonight, gentlemen.
Okay, fair enough. Sir, we are all liars. We are all cheats. We are the thugs. And
UK
that is why
police
we
is
are
the same
getting
as Delhi
beaten up.
police.
Sir, I rest my case. Pakistan is a great country. Thank you, Mr. Hydari, for reminding us. We forgot. And Pakistanis who are climbing on top of walls in, Birmingham and Leicester and burning temple flags, etc., are real humanists. Thank you, Hydari Saab, Danish Saab, and Kamruzaman Chaudhary Saab. Thank you for being part of this debate. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.